Thank you for tuning in. This is Yaya, the spiritual doula, and we are about to have a candid conversation about the subtle power of spiritual abuse. As the spiritual community turns into the spiritual industry, we have to become a little bit more discerning as to whose table we eat from, because it's a lot of vampires out there, it's a lot of impersonators, it's a lot of people who will use you for gain and greed. You don't want to miss any part of this message. Tap in, family. Thank you for tuning in to The Initiates. It is your girl Yaya, the spiritual doula. I am so glad that you decided to tap onto this video. If this is your first time hearing the sound of my voice, welcome. Thank you for giving this video a listening ear. Please, after you get done watching it, we would love to have you subscribe to the tribe and join our family here that we are building. A family of divine feminines, a family of all people who want to keep each other encouraged, uplifted, celebrate each other. And so please hit the notification bell so you'll know when I'm back with another message. Give this message a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. To all of my returning subscribers, what's good, family? What's good, Soul Tribe? I hope everybody is doing well and found in wellness, prosperity. I hope you're succeeding in all of your endeavors and all is good with you. All right. We're going to get into a little message here. All right. Hold on. Let me get my situation going. Hold on. We're going to get into a little message because I thought that my last message um when I was talking about uh impersonators and gang stalkers and spiritual vamps and people who will copycat you maliciously um because they are jealous and or envious or insecure and intimidated of you. I thought that was going to be the last time that I was going to deal with some of this subject matter, but I think I feel like you know how the mother tell you, or the spirit team, or your ancestor, whoever, child. You know how they tell you like 2, 3 weeks ahead of time that they want you to do something or deal with something, especially if you're a spiritual teacher or mentor or have a channel or anything like that, and you kind of like, okay, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, and you kind of put it off because you have your other things you want to do, and some kind of way they just bring you right to it anyway, and so you end up having to say, okay, I guess you really want me to deal with this. So because for the last 3 weeks or so, even before I did the last message that I did, if you have not watched that episode of Initiates, you might want to go watch that. It was really good. um Even before I did that message, she had been talking to me about spiritual abuse in the spiritual community. All right. And she took me back to some things that I had experienced um in religion concerning spiritual abuse, and how she broke me free and healed me and delivered me out from under the influence of the spiritually abusive. And she would begin to remind me about that time. This was years ago. I mean, I'm 41 now, so that would have been like 21 years ago. I think no, not. Hold on now. I'm 41 now, so that would have been like around 26, 25, somewhere up in there. Um, so I say, well, you want me to deal with this in the spiritual community? Because see, I was associating the book that she gave me at that time to help me understand. The book is called The Subtle Power of Spiritual Abuse. It is written by David Johnson and Jeff Van Vonderen. If you want to check that out, it's called The Subtle Power of Spiritual Abuse. This book saved my life. Hands down, saved my life, because there's a lot of abuse that goes on amongst the spiritual community, whether it is in or out of religious affiliation. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of abuse that goes on spiritually. And the thing about spiritual abuse that makes it so um subtle, as the book calls it, is that you don't expect to be abused by the very person that is supposedly sent to you by God to help you grow, to help you heal, to help you expand yourself spiritually. You don't expect that the person with okay, let me put it like this. The foundation of spiritual abuse is set upon this. Spiritual abuse is so subtle because the individual that is abusing people spiritually creates a air of giftedness. They create an air of being like they walking hand in hand with God, and they walking hand in hand with deities, and they walking hand in hand with, you know what I'm saying? And so you don't, when you're a neophyte and you're just coming into the thing, you don't really think that the person that seems to be so devout, so disciplined, so, that it doesn't that this person seems to have reached a certain mastery in spiritualism. You don't you don't think that this person is a complete liar. You don't, because they seem to be so gifted, charismatic even, right? I mean, they seem to be so everything you want to be, or trying to be, or working to be. They seem to have the knowledge of the ancestors, and the knowledge of the rituals, and the knowledge of shadow work, and the knowledge of the deities, and the knowledge of the multi dimensions, and the knowledge of the universe. They seem to know everything you want to know. And so you really don't think that this person is going to abuse you. I don't think any child that comes into this world through their mother's womb thinks that the abuse is going to happen at the hands of their mother, which is why abuse is so impactful. It is also why, spiritually speaking, I go so hard against it. Because it is so detrimental to the individual who is seeking to learn, seeking to grow, and they are trusting that the perceived spiritual leader that has come into their life, or whose life they've come into, this spiritual leader who has welcomed them and opened their arms to them and said, yes, I'll show you how to get, I see you have these gifts, I'll show you how to unlock them. I see you want to know more. I'll teach you what you need to know. It is so impactful for that person to then turn around and do things, say things, carry themselves in a way that begins to chip away at the individual's spirit. That is disgusting, deplorable, and if there's anything in life I hate, it's that. It's that, hands down. An individual trusts you to develop them and help them grow spiritually. Spiritually. And you use that position in their life to enslave them, to control them, to manipulate them, to intentionally teach them wrong spiritual principles, so then they will believe you because they're trusting that you know the way. They're trusting that you know what you're talking about. They're blindly trusting you. Hence the scripture that the blind leadeth the blind. You intentionally lead them through teaching them wrong principles. You lead them right into a ditch, into the gutter. And then if they have any kind of sense, they have to begin to claw their way out of the gutter that you have led them into. And you had the responsibility. See, this is the thing that and stemming from all the way from my church days up until this very moment. People are not taking the responsibility of spiritual leadership serious enough for me. It's always the one with the responsibility to teach, lead, guide, share with, whatever you want to call it. It is always the mentors that seems to feel like they are perfectly okay to get away with whatever they want to get away with. You have the greater responsibility. If you don't want the responsibility, then go on your spiritual evolution and sit in a basement somewhere. Nobody ever has to know you. Nobody ever has to hear from you. Nobody ever has to see you. If you don't want the responsibility that comes with leadership, then go hide up under a rock. But surely don't take on the position and the role and misguide people and think that you are going to get away with that. Talking about this today and going to be talking about it for a while because now I'm not in religion and I'm in the spiritual community. A lot of beautiful people in the spiritual community, of course. A lot of powerful people in the spiritual community, of course. And I'm only separating the spiritual community in the sense of the community. I'm separating it from religion. But it really is one and all the self same thing. Doesn't really matter the fact whether person, that's their personal preference. That's where they are in their life if they want to be in the church or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes we get on this bandwagon because we have a personal vendetta with the church and Christianity, right? And rightfully so. We have a personal vendetta. So then when we come over in the spiritual community, we make it our personal business. You know what I mean? To throw everything that's church up under the bus. Now that we know Jesus was actually a mythological figure, he wasn't really real, so on and so forth, then we want to throw him under the bus. And now that we know that, whoever the hell else, Moses was a carbon copy of somebody else, and, Abraham is a carbon copy. Now that we done went off and educated ourselves, a little bit, we seem to forget what it was like to actually be under the curse of the lie, the curse, the deception. You forgot what it's like to be under that deception, so you don't have any empathy for individuals that are still under it, right? We have to remember what it's like to really believe in what we believe in, just like we believe in the things we believe in now, that we're a part of the spiritual community. Spirituality or the spirit is so multifaceted that you cannot box her in to a system or a structure. You can't really do that when you really get down to the root of, to the essence of the spirit. The spirit goeth wherever she wanteth. Shit. She can go in the church house. She can go in the graveyard. She can go on your job. She can go to the grocery store. She can go in the middle of the wilderness or in a desert. She can go wherever she want to go. She can go in the bathroom with you if you ain't careful. You be sitting there taking a good number two, and she get to talking, and you be like, can I at least use the bathroom? You giving me a download while I'm on the toilet, spirit? This is what we doing? This is what we doing? All right, I receive it. Okay? So you don't care. She talk to you when you're clothed and talk to you when you're butt ass naked. She don't care. She's not, kidding about your structures. So I'm only separating the spiritual community because this is where I think this conversation needs to kind of be laid into, and I'm going to lay into it for as long as she gives me the endowment to do so. I'm going to touch on just a little bit because I see innocent people, including myself, coming under attack in the spiritual community, especially those who have been given the assignment with today's technology, with today's internet, everybody's on social media. And so some of us have a heart to share with other people what we have learned along the way. And we will take to the internet, take to our social media platforms as we have a right to do. And we will release social media spiritual content to strengthen the collective, to share with the collective, to build tribes, to expand the consciousness as the planet is raising its vibrations and we are raising our vibrations. It is a quite frankly a very natural thing for humans to share with one another in whatever way they have created to do so. But there's a lot of abuse happening to those individuals who have purposed in their heart to share with the fullness of the collective. They're not cherry picking people, they're just putting out what spirit has impressed upon their heart to share with the people. But there is a cancer. I want you to hear me. The more you listen, you'll know when I'm prophesying. You'll just know. I'm prophesying. I'm revealing something because this is my channel. All right. You scared of prophecy, you don't like prophecy, you don't like for the spirit to speak through a person, then go find one of them fakers. There's a lot of them. Hence why I'm having the conversation. There's a cancer. There's a mole. There's a sleeper cell. There's an assassin. There's a literal spiritual assassin in the spiritual community right now. And I'm not talking about the goddamn Illuminati. No, these individuals sit behind their computers in the third dimension. And in the spirit realm, they sit behind their cloaks. And they make prey attempt to make prey out of the people of God, the light workers, the chosen ones. I'm gonna say again, the light workers. They're attempting to make prey, and their influence is hard to see because they look like us. They look like us. They look like me. They look like you. They look like us. But they're not in allegiance with us. They're not in allegiance with the divine family of God. They're not in allegiance with the mother. They're not in allegiance with God the Son. They're not in allegiance with the daughters of God nor the sons of God. They're not in allegiance with the higher vibrational divine family. They look like us, sound like us, talk the talk and the lingo. So they have a perceived spiritual authority. I want you to really listen to the word. I said perceived spiritual authority. I want to read this little part in this book. Again, it's called The Subtle Power of Spiritual Abuse by David Johnson and Jeff Van Vonderen. Vonderen. I'm going to read this little real quick, okay? It said, um, in Jeremiah 5, the prophet relays a list of God's charges against the house of Israel. Beginning in verse 26, he says, "For wicked men are found among my people. They set a trap, they catch men." Here is God's lament over the situation. An appalling and horrible thing has happened in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests, those who serve at the altar, the priestesses, rule on their own authority. Notice that abuse is happening from a place of religious authority. Notice that abuse is happening from a place, I'm going to insert spiritual authority. Spiritual abuse can only come from a place of power or perceived power. In other words, it is possible to be abused by someone who doesn't have any true spiritual authority. The abuser only has to be perceived as someone who has power and authority in order to be in a place of leverage in which their words and actions can wound. The spiritual community is becoming an industry, has become. And so, as a spiritual being on your journey, it is even more so imperative. See, religion creates walls. Religion creates order. At least it's supposed to. Religion creates shared disciplines. Religions also, this is the higher vibrational aspect of religions, because we go so hard against religions, and I really don't, I don't care for the lower vibrational, the dark side of religion, but I'm talking about what religions give you. See, religions can give you a sense of unity with other individuals who are also on the journey through that religion to a better version of themselves. It's a shared experience when you're a part of a religion. It's not saying that religions, of course, like I just said, they have their dark side too. We have this is the same issue that I found while I was in religion. Now that I've been over in the spiritual community long enough, I find a lot of times pretty much the same issue. Not everyone who has taken on a position in spirituality is actually taking on that position to help other people. Not everyone. And you have to be very savvy. Your discernment is really going to be needed more so than ever because a lot of people, again, spirituality is becoming an industry. And as much as we harp on what church is and what church ain't and what Christianity is and what it ain't, it is mighty funny to me that we are almost following down the same damn shoes, the same damn road that Christianity has followed down. When you take spirituality and you turn it into industry, you run the risk of tainting the oil. And nobody want to talk about none of this because we all want to be in our bag. We all want to be, yeah. And when you add on top of greed for money, for tangible things, for materialism, when you add on top of that likes, clicks, views, followers, and subscribers, baby, it's a dangerous place to be in when you forget the real purpose as to why we as an individual have went on our journey. And now that we're in a place to share something with other people, to aid people on their journey, we have created a distance between where we were and where they are. And so now we don't have no problem just making merchandise out of people. We don't have no problem as long as I am gifted at giving with the people, to the people, a perception that I have spiritual authority. As long as I am good at getting them to think that I know what the hell I'm talking about, then, everything's all right. I don't really care whether they actually grow, whether they actually succeed, whether they actually heal. I don't really care because I haven't grown really. I haven't succeeded really. I have not healed at all. So why would I care about somebody else's healing? I have to just pretend that I know what I'm talking about. As long as I drop a few little nuggets here and there and and say some old fancy shit and be charismatic and be funny with it and then do a few little glamour spells and shit like that and you know shit, it's magic. Use magic to manipulate the minds of people whom I really don't care about. I see it so easily because, like I shared in the last message, the last initiates, I come out of a church where all of these workings and all of these gifts and all of this stuff that the spiritual community is so hyped up on. I come out of a church where all of that was in operation, and I also come out of a church that was hella spiritually abusive. It took me a little while to realize that gifts come without repentance. You can get so caught up in how a person prophesies or how a person reveals or how a person channels or how a person is so accurate with the tarot cards or how a person, I'm a tarot reader myself. I'm a channeler myself. I'm a medium myself, right? But, you can get so caught up. I don't want nobody around me like putting me on no damn high horse over no gifts. We all have them. If you want to celebrate me for something, celebrate me for my integrity. Celebrate me for my ethics. Celebrate me because I actually genuinely love myself and I love people. Celebrate me for some real shit. Don't celebrate me because I know how to look through a crystal ball. Are you out of your mind? I know how to throw a few oracle cards, read some oracle cards. Girl, child, the words is right on the card. I mean, come on, y'all. It takes just about no intuition at all to use oracle cards. And folks is puffed up like, you know, there's a cancer in the community that when someone comes into the community that wants to actually talk about and share some real shit, you have people sitting up flagging folks' videos and stuff, you know, for no reason at all, because they don't want their channel to grow. Don't even know these people. You don't even know this individual. These people are innocent. These people are just like you. When you jumped your happy ass on the internet, they have a heart to share. They have a heart to do what Spirit is telling them to do. And because you want to have ownership, control, and manipulation, because you really don't have no real spiritual authority. So you can't have any real spiritual authority come into the presence of the community, because then the community will see that you don't have no real spiritual authority. You're a mimicker, a mocker, a shame and a disgrace. You've lost your way. Serving at the altar under your own authority. And, I was sitting down last night before I decided to lay down. Where my coffee chair? Hold on. If I remember, I don't know. I was sitting down in the dark, because that's where I like to be. I feel real good in the dark. And I heard the mother say, there are still those who think that they are above God. And she went on further to say, these are the children of the fallen. These are the fallen. These hyper spiritual positional leaders, and whether they are in or out of religion, they hold within themselves the energy of the sons of rebellion and the daughters of bondage, who still, no matter what body they have taken on, no matter what likeness they have taken on, who still think, after all, I mean, we don't have a date, right? We don't have a date when certain spiritual phenomena took place and certain spiritual judgments were passed down. We don't know. We just know it was a hell of a long time ago. But even with all of the ages that have gone by, they still think that they can lift themselves up above the divine family, the greater consciousness, above God. And I sat there, I said, wow. She said to me, there are the fallen, because in the spiritual community, even in Christendom, we talk about how man fell into sin. That's the whole, really, the bedrock of Christianity, because if without you falling into sin, there was no need for a savior, now was there? Right? So that's the strength of the whole story. You fell into some sort of judgment with God. But before you did that, the angels and Lucifer's and everything, all of this stuff, and you have to really do your studying on. I'm using this in a very generic, general way, in a Christianized way for a point. I'm getting to a point. Before man fell, supposedly, Lucifer and took out a third of heaven, and they all dropped like falling stars to the earth, and they still roaming around here and everything. This is what I want to say. There are those who are fallen out of judgment, from, like, they were judged and found in rebellion to the spirit of love, divine love. They were found in rebellion to the spirit of the divine family. So they were dropped out of the higher frequency and dropped into a denser frequency. Where we are, frequency wise, is right in the middle of the dense energy they were dropped into, and the higher dimensional frequencies that we have access to, and so they aid us from above. If we act like we want to aid, they will aid us. But the dense ones will aid you if that's what you want as well, right? Man, male and female, are in a unique position because of the fact that they were created in the image. See, dogs, cats, birds, and trees, and all of the everything else outside of man does not have the ordination on their head to have been made in the image of the divine family. Man, male and female, have that ordainment. So the mother says that there are some who dropped out and dropped down into the denser energies, right? She said the misconception, and if I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I would advise that if you're a person who's been walking around thinking that you are fallen, and you are in bondage, and you've been working your way out of getting your soul out of hell and getting your soul out of bondage and things like that. On one hand, you are, because the trap that they have laid has kept you recycling over and over and over. We can call it reincarnation. So on one hand, you are, but what you need to ask your spirit team is, what was the original intent for me coming down to the lower frequency to begin with? Because not everybody is fallen, and not everybody is under judgment. The mother says that there are those of us who are not fallen, but we are descended. And that is a difference. The difference is the descended are higher dimensional beings who made the choice to come down. And it is the descended higher dimensional beings who we call now light workers, star seeds, It is those of it is those of us who often fall under or at prey or being preyed on by the spiritually abusive, who give a perception of spiritual authority but have none. And the more you, as a higher dimensional being that has taken on flesh. Now you want to talk about Jesus. See, this is we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We got to slow our roll a little bit because we are so disgruntled sometimes, at least when we first start on our spiritual awakening, we come out of adults, because not everybody was a part of Christianity, not everybody grew up in that. But hell, everybody know about Jesus. Shit. Unless you're an outright atheist, on some level you probably believed in it. Right. We've been so quick in our frustration with the illusion that was fed to us, that it was like a real situation going on, like somebody really, like a whole white man too on top of that. Like, I mean he looked just like the people that, like, straight up enslaved, raped and pillaged and plundered not only my people, but everywhere he has gone he has raped, pillaged and plundered. But he got on the cross for us though, and he had did the thing with the nails in the hands and the pierced in the side for me, for my black hair. And it just don't make no sense. It's off, something is off, but we believed it, and so we feel duped. You understand what I'm saying? And I get it. But as you begin to continue to go on your spiritual healing and everything, right, you start seeing something. Oh, Jesus is a archetype. He's not an archetype of all men, whether male or female. He's the archetype of particular men and women who are here, who descended to come down for two reasons: to earn their own elevation through aiding, or attempting to aid, attempting to show the way to those who had fallen. See, Jesus is an archetype. You have to find yourself where you can in that mythological figure. You might not be the Jesus, you might be the Judas. This is how you use mythology to aid you to grow, to make sure that you are not going through the wrong damn gate. You have to find yourself. You have to stop trying to, like, guise yourself with some sort of like higher educational, higher spiritual knowledge than everybody else around you, and yet you're not able to see your own wickedness. You help me understand that. You have completely disconnected yourself from yourself and given yourself a pass to do whatever you want, to create the perception of spiritual authority, because you think you're above God. Not only do you think you're above God, but you think that magic, spell work is above God. And I'm saying you think, I know that there may be somebody, if only one, that's going to hear this, that is going to receive this from a different space as the abuser. See, those who can confirm and attest that they have noticed this going on as well, or they have experienced this. I'm not right now. I'm going to get to us. I'm going to get to us, cuz really the whole point is to get to us. The whole point of my conversation. But I got to lay the groundwork. I got to talk to the abuser real quick. Let me burn me some tobacco real quick so I can clear out any kind of energies that might want to creep through here while I'm talking because they think I ain't paying attention. You don't have any real spiritual access because you don't want to do the work to heal your bitterness. So instead of you actually doing the work to heal the wretched ratchetness of you, you will use magic to spy on folks, those who have the light. You want to know what they thinking and doing. You want to come in they in their energetic frequency and ear hustle. So you'll have something to talk about. So you'll have something that sounds so motherfucking profound. It's not profound. It's not yours. It is not even profound coming out of your mouth because you're not the person that's supposed to be saying it. You don't have the authority. You don't have the access to say it. See, not everybody think your shit don't stink. But there's a cancer and it has to be cut out. And it will be cut out. You know how I know it's gonna be cut out? You want to know? Want me to tell you really how I know it's gonna be cut out? Because I could be doing a 50. I could be talking about it. I'm multifaceted when it comes to the spirituality thing, right. I could be talking about 50 million things, and if you've been on my platform long enough, you know that. The only time I come out or am asked to come out to deal with spiritual abuse is when spiritual abuse has reached the throne of God. This is where your magic will fail you. I promise you, it will fail. It will fail you. It will fail you. You have had warning after warning. I'm speaking to the abuser who just might stumble across this video. You have had warning after warning after warning after warning after warning, and you have ignored them all because for a time your spell work was working. Your spell work was working for a little while there. But spell work does not trump God consciousness and God's consciousness of his people. Spell work does not trump the mother. Are you out of your mind? She created it, child. And you, for that matter of fact. She created the work, the you, the it, the them. She created the sage you burn. She created the mirrors you like to stare in. She created the candle wax you're burning all the time and reading and carrying on. She created your apple cider vinegar, your salt, your olive oil. She created every tree, every plant. Child, you're not getting above. You can't do nothing to get out of the scope and out of the sight of the divine family. You know what she told me to talk about? There is a difference between karma and judgment. Karma is a law that operates within the universe. It doesn't have to be babysitted. It doesn't have to be watched over. And no decisions have to be made about whether you're going to receive your karma. It comes along with being a being an existent vibration. Karma. It's written in the code. All of us have it. That's a shared experience. Karma is not necessarily something you get because you've done something wrong. Karma is a law, cause and effect. It's in the coding. You can't do nothing about it. You can't get around it. This is why for those of us who descended and decided to come down to help, we also have to deal with our karma. Evidently, so do the higher vibrational beings when they do things or make decisions that cause an effect. Nobody escapes karma. Nobody. But judgment is different. Judgment is different, boo boo. Judgment comes in when you have put yourself in a position. You know, there's a scripture, and I'm gonna say I don't know if I'm gonna say it right, but I'm gonna try. There's a scripture that says, it's a bad thing to fall in the hands of an angry, living God. When you fall into the judgment of the divine family, you fall under their judgment. It means you have consequently done so much. You have broken so many spiritual laws. You have turned a deaf ear to your spirit guide, your spirit team. You have turned, the same spirit team that you like to teach, like that's supposed to be so such and much, that everybody's supposed to know about, but you don't even listen to them. That same spirit team, you don't even listen to the spirit team, but you don't. It's your spirit team. Not everybody's walking with the same energies. Not everybody's working with the same energies. Do you know how many angels and demons and daemons and you know how many? They're legions. Not everybody is working with the same energies. We get on here and we share who we work with. I don't, because I'm just as protective over them as they are of me. There's a reason why these gods have multiple names. Thousands. It's a whole I got a whole encyclopedia of the deities. I mean, and you got to go through it and be like, oh, well, that's the same one. Okay, that's the same frequency, but it's a different name because them. That's what the Indians named them, and that's what the Jamaicans named them, and that's what the Africans named them, and it's the same energy. Oh, that's the same goddess. That's what the Greeks named her. That's what the Egyptians named her. It's the same goddess. They just got different names, but there's a reason for that. You have fallen under judgment and going to fall even more so under judgment because you refuse to receive correction. And this is the difference between karma and judgment. Karma is a shared experience. Judgment is not, because not all of us are knuckleheads. Not all of us are so bitter, so tainted, down to your toenails. You're tainted in your frequency and your energy. You're dense. You can't receive correction because you can't receive healing. You can't stop blaming everybody for whatever the fuck happened to you. You can't. So you don't care about anybody else's being able to heal. You don't care about anybody else being able to grow. You don't care about love. Who? Love? Love of my damn self. But you don't even love yourself. Because if you did, you receive correction. Love yourself enough to not fall into the hands of an angry living God. Do that. I talk to the abusers a little different than I talk to the abused. I don't know if I'm going to get to us, those who have witnessed and watched and sat around and watched these cancerous, parasitic individuals operate. And we're waiting. We don't have to wait very much long. I'm telling you, it's coming. Because our vibration as descended beings is getting higher and higher. They're not going to be able to stand very much longer. The light is going to break them, like the break of day. You know, like how when the sun come up and it be dark and everything, and then the sun come up and then the darkness just rolls away. It just breaks away. We had a sun rising. We had a sun rising. They're eventually going to break away because the light is going to be too high. And since they refuse to come into the light, since they refuse to bring the light out from within, then they won't be able to stand much longer. So I may not get to us. I might have to do another one. I'm going to do more of these conversations because this need to be talked about. Because everybody's so gung-ho and caught up in the frequency of spiritual gifts that you're not seeing that there's a cancer. And so not even just in the collective, you have to lord over your spirit. If you are spiritually gifted, you have to lord over, you have to watch, you have to be the watchman over your own gates because it's so subtle and it's so creepy how greed will set in, how manipulation can set in because you think you're so spiritually gifted. You think your magic is so powerful that you are going to get a pass at doing whatever you want. And I have the responsibility to remind myself that that is not so. And I take the responsibility to remind you that that is not so. You will not get away. I don't care what tribe you're part of. I don't care what tribe you done created. I don't care if you're a part of voodoo, hoodoo, black magic. I don't care. Christianity, Muslim, Islam, Hindu, hell, Palo, Santeria. I don't care what you're part of. I really don't. We have to guard our gates. And when you are spiritually gifted, even more so, because you are spiritually gifted, don't let the very thing that you rail against, the very thing that you have experienced at the hands of somebody else, don't let that be the thing that sneaks in like a thief in the night into your own spirit and you begin to perpetrate that on other people because you're harvesting and holding and harboring bitterness, anger, and frustration. Nobody who didn't do whatever was done to you deserves to be your target. Nobody who didn't create the offense in you deserves to have a target on their back. Nobody who was not there, who don't know nothing about it, deserves for you to use your spiritual prowessness to attack them for no fucking reason. Nobody. Respectfully. When people come towards you for help that you can't give them because you won't do the work, you'll settle for a disguise. You'll settle for being an illusionist. Well, that will only take you so far. Because eventually, the real thing is going to show up on the scene. It's going to show up. The light worker is going to show up and expose your darkness. And then you're going to try to go and give the illusion that you on the straight and narrow now. You know, you know, you know, you want to give the illusion that you on the straight and narrow, child. That you mean well by folks. It's too late. You should have did that 10 warnings ago. See, you have moved yourself out from under the frequency of karma, and you have moved yourself under the frequency of judgment. And when the sentence goes out, be, it will not be rescinded. See, that's why God, the mother, they be so slow when it comes to judgment. They be so slow to pronounce judgment on you. You could go lifetimes, lifetimes. You could go lifetimes showing up in that old evil, nasty, wicked body with that old evil, nasty, wicked spirit. Do the same thing every lifetime, die, come back, and turn right back into a child. You know what she is, hell. Before they actually, they give you a little while because they, they love you too. And they, in their wisdom, know that this lived experience causes karma, it causes trauma, it causes hurt and pain. But there comes a point where you send the message that you are beyond correction. You're sending the message that you can't be helped. Shit. And now that you have moved yourself under judgment, you still being an illusionist by giving the illusion that you on the straight and narrow now. You on the up and up. You know, you ain't fucking with none of that shit no more. You ain't messing with nobody. You ain't doing nothing. You minding your business. You drinking your water and eating your fruit, honey, child. I am the victim here. Everybody is against me. Everything people saying about me is just lies, child. I am on the straight and narrow. I don't do those things no more. You still giving the illusion because you're not actually trying to correct yourself and receive the correction. What you're trying to do is again secure the perception that people will have of you that you have some sort of authority. So now, I'm on the up and up. Shit. I don't do none of that. The spiritual community doesn't really have that kind of structure that the religious community has. So, in the church, when you have a rogue minister or pastor that's just won't receive correction, he keep cheating on his wife, you know what I'm saying? He beating on his children, you know what I mean? He in the closet, in the back office doing stuff, you know what I mean? He touching people's children and stuff, and he just would not receive correction, or it could even be at the first offense. You know what I mean? It don't have to go on and on. It just depends on the church and who's the bishop over it as to how much rope they give him. But a good church knows you need to be sat down. No, you'd have been caught in some bullshit. Sit down, pastor. Sit down, sit down. In the church, they'll sit you down. In the church, they'll silence you. And if you keep going rogue, they'll put you out. Spiritual community don't really have that kind of structure, so we have to silence you in a different way. We have to put you out in a different way. We have to say, no more. No more. Your cloak ain't working. We see you. We have to collectively. And this is why people in the spiritual community, the abusers in the spiritual community, whenever they see somebody else coming into the community that's halfway ethical and wants justice and wants divine love and to build divine communities, right? When they see that, then they start flagging and trying to, you know what I'm saying? They start flagging your videos and reporting your shit. And you know what I'm saying? You're having a hard time getting your stuff out there. They don't want you to get too much leeway. Because you might do what I'm doing right now. You might say something. Shit. You might say something to break down my cloak, girl. You can't come out here. Flag it. Flag it, YouTube. Block that. The imposters, when people are undercover, the last thing they want is for their cover to be blown. I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of being undercover. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. Hey, I don't participate in it, but logically, I get it. You undercover, child. And nobody would be fucking with you if you wasn't fucking with nobody. And this is hence why your spirit team and everything and all them good deities was trying to warn you. I I know warning has come, and you want to know, well, how you know they got warning? Because I can hear in the spirit. That's how I know. And I'm finna read for you a scripture, the one that they gave me. I'm gonna read this scripture real quick, and I want you to bear with me. All right. This is Proverbs 16, verse 10. This is where I'm gonna start. A divine sentence is in the lips of the king. His mouth transgresseth not in judgment. A just weight, ooh, speak, spirit, speak, speak, speak. A just spirit, a just weight, and balance are the Lord's. All the weights of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaketh right. The wrath of a king is as messengers of death. But a wise man will pacify it. In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold with your greedy self? And to get understanding, rather to be chosen than silver. The highway of the upright is to depart from evil, from the veil that you hide behind. The upright depart from behind the veil. Hmm. He that keepeth his way preserve preserveth his soul. Now this is the one right here, verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction. Pride goeth before destruction. And a haughty spirit before a fall. So when you say, how do you know? The more puffed up they get. The more puffed up they get. See, this is not my first rodeo bringing down warlocks and witches. It's really not. I brought down a few in the church too before I left and after I left. They still trying to recover, and that was years ago. But there is a time for everything under the sun. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. There's a time to cry and there's a time to laugh. There's a time to eat and there's a time to starve. There's a time to drink and there's a time to be thirsty. There's a time for silence and there's a time to speak up. It is the love for myself and the love for the divine family that I even choose to be heard at all. Because my evolution, as a divine being, is not predicated upon me doing, anything other than healing my shit. No matter, I mean, I can say right here in North Florida, minding my damn business. Don't never, no, you ain't got to. I don't have to be. I don't have to participate, but I choose to because I understand. Out of divine love, I share me, the light of me, right? The more puffed up they get, this is how you know when you're dealing with an imposter whose cover is blown. You know, the extent that they go to secure the perception of their spiritual authority that they do not have, and they can feel and sense when that's slipping away. And it may not be showing up right now in the 3D. Time and space, baby, time and space. Got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. We have to deal with it. We have to deal with time and space, right? But the judgment has already been issued from the higher dimensions. You have to be tapped in, but there are signs. And one of those signs is the increased sense of haughtiness. These people are what you call reprobated. They can't do right even when they want to do right. They just can't come to right. Their pride and their ego will not let them say for 1 second, I got it wrong. I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong. I'm wrong. I'm going to go get correction. I don't have anything else to say right now. They can't silence themselves. They can't sit themselves down. When I was a young minister in the church, I wasn't abusing nobody, but I didn't want to miss what's the word? I didn't want anybody to perceive me because, like I told y'all in the last video, when I started preaching and stuff like that, I became quickly the influence, the ability to influence, the ability to empower people showed up rather quickly. And so I was living, of course, trying to live the best life I could according to Christian standards, but I was still like 20 years old. I was young. So I had things still going on in my life that according to Christian standards would have been found sinful. I didn't want to dishonor my anointing, and I didn't want to dishonor the gifts that had been given to me by continuing to function at the altar, even though I know privately and secretly I'm not living up to the Christian standard. I'm not living up to the standard of God at that time. I didn't need for my cover to be blown because I'm not trying to have no cover. I'm not trying to cloak myself. I'm not trying to give no false perception of spiritual power and prowessness and savvy. I'm not trying to be just charismatic. See, the issue is we have a problem discerning power from charisma. We have an issue because of people's charisma at discerning whether we really need to tap into them as a frequency. Do we really need to be listening to? Do we? Oh, maybe let me go find somebody else, because yeah, that was cute. But I'm picking up something up off you that I don't want. Because I told you you can't take nobody's light without taking their darkness. Folks will sit up and work whole spells on people that they don't even personally know, all because they subscribed to the channel. You're doing spell work on your subscribers. You're working glamour spells right in their face, and they cannot see it. But I saw you, saith God. I see you. I never did not see you. You are beyond correction. So because I had a lot of things going on that would have been found unpleasing, first to God, that the people don't know about, I didn't wait for my leadership to uncover it. I didn't wait for God to have to pull the covers off of me. The honorable thing to do at that time was for me to sit myself down, for me to silence myself. And that's exactly what I did. I can't open up the service in prayer right now. I went to the head evangelist. I told her I can't open the service because they used to love for me to open up the service in prayer. I can't do it right now. Uh, I got stuff going on. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't preach right now. I can't be at the altar while Bishop is laying hands and praying for the people. I can't assist him as a prayer warrior right now. I can't do it right now. I silenced myself because I didn't want to be found dishonorable before God. It was never about the people. But not some of you. I'm not saying I'm like perfect. I'm saying that these are the things you do when you have spiritual ethics. You don't cloak yourself in gifts. You don't move unethically behind closed doors with your rituals, with your spell casting, with your voodoo dolls, and then come out on a public platform like you just love the people. I love everybody. I'm good. I'm Glenda the Good Witch. I'm Glenda the Good Witch. No. You got something going on in your spirit. You got a little hurt down up in there. You got a little trauma up in there still from something that happened to you when you was 3 years old. You damn near 50. And you found yourself being looked up to. You found yourself being looked at. Spirituality ain't nothing to play with. It's 50 million things you could be doing with your life besides playing with the spirit and playing in people's spirit. and attacking people who haven't done anything to you. You are beyond correction. The only correction you can receive right now that might save your soul is judgment. Karma is not enough. Not for you. Because you're harvesting, you're harboring. I always get that word wrong. Harvesting and harboring. Sons of rebellion and daughters of bondage. It's the energy you're pulling from while you're supposed to be serving at the altar for the Most High. Nobody stops to think, to investigate. Thousands of people are under your influence, under your tutelage. And the most you can do is work a glamour spell and make merchandise of them because all you really want is what's in their pockets. This is why the spiritual mysteries are called a mystery. They're not a mystery because God wants to be so elusive that nobody can figure this out. They're elusive and they're a mystery because most people will not dedicate themselves for themselves, by themselves, through themselves to figure it out. They always need somebody to hold their hand. And so other people, other dense energies who knows that people tend to be sheeple, they will play on that to feed their greed, to feed their need to be seen as so much because the insecurity runs hella deep. I I I I don't give a pass to an insecure person. I know we sometimes pick up insecurities because of trauma, but I'm gonna tell you like I told the homeless lady that was standing outside of the store a few months ago, asking for money, right? Because she went to Harvard about how she hurting and I don't want to go through the whole story. There's a reason why I chose not to give her any. It wasn't because I just one of them people that don't give nobody nothing. That's not it. Because I actually had already intended to give to her. I saw her before I even got out the store with the shopping cart. Good young sister, right about 30 something, and she was out and working the parking lot. And by the time I could get out of the grocery store good with the cart, she made her way to me as Spirit told me she's gonna come to. I said, okay. And Spirit had already purposed in my heart to give her something. Melanated sister. And she got to me and she started to, run me down the spiel, whatever her selling points were. I don't know. We didn't get that far because before she could even by the time she got to me to say, "Hey sis," she said, hold on, let me get this cracker first. Let me get because it was and he wasn't even white. It was a East Indian man walking up into the grocery store simultaneously at the same time. But she saw him as a cracker. Those are her words. So if there's any Caucasians that happens to listen to this video, I just letting you know what she said. She put me on hold. Who was I had Spirit had already told me give to her. I said okay, not a problem. And sis came to me and before she could even really address me appropriately and respectfully, She said, hold on, let me get this cracker first. Walked over there to the East Indian man. He told her no. He ain't got nothing to give her. And he went on in the store. I said, damn. I watched her. It was an older white lady, probably about 70, 80 years old, getting her groceries and loading up her car. And before she got back to me, she went to the other white woman. The white lady gave her 80, like $2 or something. In the middle of all of this, I have made it to my car. And here she come. After she have taken or attempted to receive from what she thought was going to be a better target, a better target. And you're out here asking for money while calling people racial slurs. So by the time I started putting my groceries in my trunk, here she come. Hey, hey, hey. And before she could even, Spirit had already spoke again. And I heard Spirit clear as day say, teachable moment. I said, all right. Hey, hey. I said, no, I'm not giving you nothing. Huh? I said, let me explain to you what you did. And I broke it down to her. And she didn't like it. She didn't like the correction. She went off on me. Because I don't when I'm in under the anointing to correct something, I'm not pussyfooting around with you. You were wrong, and you don't get a pass to be wrong like that because you're homeless. You don't get a pass because you're a beggar. You don't get a pass to be disrespectful. I said, you I couldn't even explain to her, like, because what I was feeling in my spirit was like, you don't really understand how that little small thing was such a violation. On several accounts, it was a violation. You're taking money from people that you're using racial slurs against. You're making merchandise of people that you don't even really rock with like that. Because out of the abundance of the heart does the mouth speak. And here I am, a sister. Here I am, the closest representative of you. And my money you put my money on hold. And it's my money. And a spirit had already, and I told the spirit had already told me to give to you. But now they're telling me that I can't. And this was not, because I stood there while she was saying, Spirit, you really don't want me to give? No, don't. If you don't think Spirit will change their mind about you, I don't know what you think. Because these, like, Spirit is, first off, it was Spirit that told me to position in my heart to give. I could have dismissed her at the shopping cart. So this was never about the money. It was about the moment, because make no mistake, I'm not the first person that she had done that to. I'm not the first person of her people that she had done that to. To dismiss yours so you can go over here and get money from some people that you don't even like because you're calling them out of their name. So clearly you don't rock with them. So why would you dismiss the blessing by receiving from me? See, this was not about the money. Not for me and not for Spirit. It was about the lesson for her. And she went off on me. I didn't give a damn. People who probably gonna hear this message probably gonna be sitting in the living room on the phone or whatever going on, gonna be like, yeah, you know, you talking. But I got a moment as she was walking away calling me a hoe. I said, she said, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I ain't got la, la, la. And I said, sis, you don't get a pass. We all hurting, hun. We all have something. We all have something that we're hurting about. That's not, and see, this is what real, true, spiritually appointed people do. In love, from love, they do not avoid the time when they must speak up when someone is breaking. Because if I don't tell you, then you're going to just keep going. I don't know how many times she has done that, but I know I wasn't the first one because the way it played out, I know I wasn't the first one. I just happened to be the one that Spirit wanted to use to attempt to get her to correct herself. You got black folks on the internet right now speaking a mad amounts of racial debauchery against other races of people while silently working hand in hand with those people. I don't have no problems with who you work with, but it's disrespectful and disgusting for you to come back in front of your people and give off the illusion that all you rock with is your people. You don't rock with nobody else but your people when you are behind the closet, behind the veil, shaking hands with the very people that you publicly disapprove of. If they're still willing to work with you, that's fine. But the illusion that you're casting to your own people is where you have the greater responsibility. That's why I don't get into all of that hyper blackism. I'm not in my spiritual frequency still holding on to disgruntledness, pissed offness, hatred for nobody. Black, white, blue, or purple. It doesn't, because I'm where I'm at. That's not high vibrational. But to the naive and to those that don't know any better, you appear to be spiritually powerful. You play on their frustrations with society. You play on their frustrations with their family. You play on their frustrations with the system and the matrix. You play on it. You're not really trying to help them alchemize their shit. Too many illusions for me to believe that. You casting too many goddamn illusions. I'm talking to the abuser today. That your abuse has come up to the throne. And you can be haughty and you can be full of pride. It is only a flag that your destruction draweth nigh. When I see false spiritual leaders go into that puffed up, haughty, high minded, oh, another red flag that lets me know your destruction draweth nigh is because every time you open your damn mouth, you talking about your enemies. You talking about who won't like you. You talking about who won't be you. You talking about who won't look like you. You talking about how people just always messing with me. People just use everybody's victim. If you ain't got somebody that's victimizing you, you will make it up in your head, child. You're hyper defensive, you're hyper paranoid, you're trying to create the illusion of, well, the damsel in distress. That's also a spell that you're working to keep people in a place of empathy for you. And the whole time they don't know that you have made prey out of them. The insecurity runs deep. The insecurity runs deep. But a spiritually authoritative person who stands proudly and strongly and confidently, they have that confidence because they too have been on the receiving end of hurt, trauma. And they're looking at it from the standpoint of look at what all I have come through. I've come through it. So I don't have to paint the illusion I don't have to lie about it. I don't have to speak about it at all. I've already come through it. Why do I need to keep dredging it up? No, I speak from a place of power. I speak from a place of uplifting. I speak from a place of telling other people, I know you're going through a lot because I've gone through a lot and we ain't got to speak on the details, but know that you will make it. And how I know you will make it is because look at, I'm here telling you, I'm still here. I'm right here telling you that you can make it and you will make it. Just keep going through it. But when you see a person always using they like, they lying on me. They talk about me. They don't like me. They don't. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know why people keep targeting me. I don't know. That's not speaking from power, child. If you was that spiritually gifted, then you would know that you're going to always be a target. Get used to it. But the spiritually false illusionist of a person that's given the illusion of authority, they can't. They out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth must speak. So because they have no authority, they have to garner your empathy. It's amazing. It's like even though spiritually powerful people deal with a lot of things, they're not always going through something. They have moments of peace, seasons of abundance, whereas everything's peaceful. I got good people around me. People are supportive. I've learned my lesson on how to discern who to pull around me. And I'm doing good. I'm growing, right? Like people who have real spiritual authority are not always, being fought against. Not always. Every soldier comes off the battlefield at some point, or else you die eventually. Every soldier has to put their sword down. They don't need it. They're home. They're at home with their family, with their loved ones, with their wife. They have left the battlefield. They got blood on them and a few scars. You know what I'm saying? They got stabbed a couple times. But the war is over. I'm back home with my people. I don't need my sheath and sword and shield and buckler right now. So when you see a person who's supposed to have so much spiritual authority, always in a battle, that's like, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And they never ever give. They refuse to give the truth, both sides of the story. It's always somebody unjustly attacking them. Somebody unjustly has become my enemy. I don't know why people be messing with me. I don't know why people be fucking with me. They will never speak in terms of, well, I did show up to sis a little raw and uncut because I was not having a good day that day, and so um I might have ruffled her feathers, which is why now she has decided to make me an enemy. I mean, I didn't mean to do that. I was just it wasn't even about her. They never have any fault. This subtle power of spiritual abuse. This book helped me a lot because it helped me see how my own spiritual leadership was abusing me. And this shit is going on in the spiritual community, and somebody has to talk about it. We can't just sit up and keep acknowledging, oh yeah, they spirit monitoring and we have to talk about it in a way so other people can possibly, maybe, hopefully run across the conversation and get themselves free out of a situation with somebody that they're looking up to, somebody that they're allowing or looking to as a mentor, if they're in that situation. And if they're not, then we speak about it in a way so that those coming up behind us into the spiritual community can be warned ahead of time to what to look for. We can't just keep talking about, oh, this gang stalking, this spirit monitors. Okay, and what and how do you know that? How do we notice that? When it's real, when it's subtle. Gang monitoring, gang stalking, and spirit monitoring is how they garnish information so they'll know how to abuse you, know where your weakness is at. But the abuse itself is typically way more subtle. It's way more subtle even than spirit monitoring. And it's rooted in the fact that the one being abused holds the individual, the abuser, in high esteem. Without that, there's no space for the abuse to take place. Today, I'm dealing with the abuser, and I'm going to deal with the abuser. I'm going to speak to the abuser because I really need for you to understand. I don't really need for you to understand, but I have an assignment. I have been given an assignment, and I'm going to do it until such time as the divine family says, okay, you can let it go. Because your false sense of self-confidence has gotten the best of you. Go heal, but to be honest, it's I think other people typically come along first and will tell us to go heal. Warning comes before destruction. When we don't hear it, when people are saying, you need to go heal, you need to go heal. I'm not trying to be mean, but you need to go heal. That's the warning. And when we refuse to do that, and we keep going on about our way, letting greed lead us, and then uh, for the purposes of greed, for the purposes of lining your pocket, you will settle for just being a magician. Well, when you do that, accept the judgment. Accept the judgment, right? This has been the Initiates. Thank you all for taking a moment to listen to this message. Please subscribe if you have not. I'd love to have you be a part of the family over here with us. And hit the like button for your girl. That'd be a great way to share some energy with your support. Um, because I don't beg for donations and beg for money and none of that. You know what I mean? I feel like your gifts will make room for you. You know, if I was gonna be a beggar, then I'd be out there with sis at the grocery store asking, people for $2 and everything. You know what I mean? I'm not finna be coming over here with all this good anointing and everything and be begging for money. Not me. Somebody else could do it. But your support would be, greatly appreciated with just a thumbs up. A purple heart in the comments. Say what's up, sis. Let me know how you feel about the message. And turn that notification bell on so you'll know when I'm back with another one because I'm definitely coming back with another one. All right. I love you guys. I wish you well. If spirit says the same, I'm going to really talk to those of us who have dealt with these abusers. If you haven't dealt with it personally, then you have observed it. You've observed it. And so we're going to talk amongst ourselves. Hopefully next time that I come back on, unless spirit says different. All right. I wish you all the best. I'll see you on the next one. Peace, family.